I grew up in a family on a farm where everybody pours everything into everything that they do. My siblings and I in football, basketball, track, and then the summer we're working on the farm. There wasn't really a choice at the time. And working for parents that are running a successful business that are still so compassionate and caring for the 60 plus kids that are out there. And at the time, I thought that was normal. And then I got other jobs at other companies, and I realized what we do at Suters Produce is not normal. And so I'm honored to be here with my dad. Who wouldn't love to present with their dad, right? How cool is that? But Dad, I want you to help us understand how you do what you do so consistently.
Well, thank you, Mark. And that story about the computer, that kind of jogged a memory. Went to Bluffton College, and I took a few computer classes, absolutely loved it. And the computer... Is there somebody else talking?
Yeah, somebody else is talking.
Anyway, the computer professor, he asked me if I would be the student helper every night, Monday through Friday. That would be my college job. The computer was the size of 5 washing machines, an NCR or something. Yeah. And I thought that was normal. Then eventually the little PCs came out and all that. I tell stories to my kids and my grandkids. They go, "Man, you are old." But anyway, yesterday we picked a lot of strawberries. And Monday through Saturday we start at 6 in the morning, pick fresh strawberries. And yesterday it was kind of a rainy day. We had picked a lot of berries. And I didn't know if we were going to sell them all, because when it rains, some of the little farm markets, we have 5 little Red Barn farm markets in Lima, Findlay, Wapakoneta, Bluffton, and Ottawa, and a few more when sweet corn season starts. But and I thought, well, if it's a rainy day, we might not sell all the berries. But I had about 37 extra buckets. We usually pick some extra ones. And I thought, I think Findlay has the best chance of selling them. Lima sells a lot of berries too. But I took them over to Findlay, talked to Chelsea over there. I said, "Chelsea, I don't know if you'll be able to sell all these, but you're the best hope, and we'll see how it goes." Well, she came in then later that afternoon, and she said, "Jerry, I did it. We sold all the berries." And I said, "Chelsea, you are the best." And she says, "You know it, Jerry." And she has a lot of confidence, like all our salespeople. They're just wonderful, wonderful people. And I said, "Now, Chelsea, I got something to tell you. I'm a little nervous." She said, "You are nervous? What is this about?" I said, "Well, tomorrow I'm supposed to give a talk about marketing and social media. Now, I know a little something about selling stuff, the marketing, but the social media, way over my head. But I'm learning, and I'm here to learn. And Mark and Jessica have helped us, and anyway, we've had fantastic results, unreal results. But anyway, Chelsea said, "Jerry, you know how we do on the farm, let me start over. Chelsea said, "Jerry, on our farm, what we do is let the produce do the talking." Am I holding this too close? Anyway, and I thought, I love that. When she said our farm, she took possession of the farm. We encourage that highly. We can't really tell them to say that, but we just want them to have that feeling that they are a part of the farm. And she said, "We're going to let the produce do the talking." And I thought, now, I don't think she really meant what I was thinking about. So if she wanted the produce to do the talking, I thought this morning when I talked to the kids, I'm going to take the first bucket that was picked and just bring it up here. And so if I ever stall out, we're just going to let the produce do the talking. Now, this little white tag right here says Greg Hartzler. That means he is the he is the guy that picked this bucket. And whenever a student picks a bucket, they stick their name tag in there, and that's how they get paid. Now, it also tells us if somebody's putting berries in there that they shouldn't, then we know who did it. But we don't tell them that. But anyway, and a good number of them can pick 20, even sometimes 30 buckets in a morning. They get $5 a bucket. It's not bad money for about 3 hours. And anyway, so I was thinking about starting with the conclusion. And the conclusion that I want to leave you with is there's two things that are very, very important to selling stuff. First of all, you have to have the best stuff, whatever it is, whether it's produce, whether it's services, whatever you're selling, it had better be the best. And the other thing is, you had better have the best people. And we have made a conscious decision to hire high school and college students on our farm. Now, I get a lot of feedback on that, how stupid of an idea that is. They've got 17 reasons why you should not hire high school and college students to do the picking and the selling. I counter that with every single thing. First of all, they have a lot of energy. You cannot have more energy than a high school kid. They are very trainable, and they will listen to you. When I start to give them a advice or some kind of a talk, it gets still. We have what's called words of wisdom, and after we pick the sweet corn from 6 in the morning till about 8, then we bring it up to the farm. We load the bags onto the white trucks. Just before we send them off to the stands, a lot of times we'll have some person like, and I could just pick any of you, if I would bump into you somewhere, sometime, and my favorite line is, Jerry Suter, we hire a lot of high school kids, and we have words of wisdom. They say, what's that? I said, well, do you know anything that a high school student should know? And if they're honest, they would say, oh, yeah, I know a few things that a high school student should know. I said, well, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, could you come out and give the words of wisdom to these kids? Yeah, I could do that, yeah. Now, the next morning, you would come, and there are no holds barred what you can say. The only rule is you're not allowed to tell me what you're going to say. I want to be surprised too. Now, the kids, they don't know who's coming. They don't know what you're going to say, but they do know that you took part of your day to help them out, give them hopefully a step up. And so now some of our speakers are absolutely fantastic. Some of them are absolutely terrible. And the kids seem to like the terrible ones better. But in fact, they will discuss it for about, I don't know, however long.
I don't know. We need to show some pictures too. But at the same time, keep in mind that all these kids are on the clock, and it's like all the work stops. This is what I now realize is building that culture of we care about all of you so much, and we're going to pay you to just sit here and learn something. Has nothing to do with farming, making a profit. We're investing in you, the person. I've always thought that's awesome.
And the picture you see there is the Morning Star cider press. I bought that when I was a senior in college. My mother, she has a lot of ideas. And she said, now, Jerry, why don't you go see Clyde Basinger, who owns the cider press. He hasn't run it for 6 years. Maybe he'd sell it to you. I said, Mom, we're kind of busy. In June, we have strawberries, July, sweet corn. Uh, in August is sweet corn also, and she says September and October. And I said, well, yeah, we could maybe make some cider then. And so she said, why don't you go see Clyde? So I did, knocked on the door, and Clyde, mean. And so he opens up the door. I said, Clyde, my name is Jerry. I know who you are, now get. And I went home and I told Nancy, I don't think we're going to be buying the cider press. And about 3 days later, I thought, why not? He's not using it. Why wouldn't he sell it? It comes with 7 acres behind the press. Why wouldn't he sell it? So I went back again. Knock, knock, knock. He opened the door and it started to shut. And I said, wait, Clyde, wait. You haven't run the cider press for 6 years. Why don't you want to sell it? He said, well, I'll tell you, I know what you're going to do. You don't care about the cider press. You want the 7 acres, and you are going to sell house lots, and I don't want any neighbors. I said, Clyde, if we buy the cider press, we're going to take that 7 acres and plant the whole thing to apple trees to make cider with, and you will not have any neighbors. 10 seconds later, Clyde says, you can buy it. So it went from get to, okay, let's make a deal. Now that changed my life. That was 50 years ago. This will be the 50th year of making apple cider. And I hear my friends, or even younger friends, say, when I work about 34 years, I'm going to retire. Well, anyway, I just think that's kind of humorous because I don't plan on retiring. But and the reason the cider press changed my life is about 25 years after we bought it, my son Tom and we decided to let's start a corn maze. And in the last 25, yeah, I don't know, exactly.
I got you.
Oh, there's some berries. There's some sweet corn. Oh, wait a minute, this one here.
We gotta keep them moving. We're half time.
Okay, good. So that picture right there, I love that because it's marketing, marketing, marketing. What person could go past that on the streets of Lima and not stop and buy something? It's very powerful. There's an old family picture. My dad, some guy talking to you is petting the dog, and my brother and sisters. And that's me with my 4 children.
I'm the little tiny one.
Yeah, the little handsome one. Now, we used to take a lot of melons up to Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and we were in the wholesale business. Oh, I hated it. It's a lot of work. The guy on the right flew fighter jets, and he came and buzzed us one time, treetop level, 650 miles an hour, and it scared all of us big time. We didn't know it was going to come. All of a sudden, shoo, it was the fastest thing I ever saw go by. It was up in Detroit unloading melons. We took 600 bushels of melons up to Vince Vitale, the watermelon king in Detroit. That's about 1 in the morning. And they're there ready to go. We'd deliver them all night and then come back during the day and pick some more. My daughter, this is our first retail. We decided let's drop this retail or wholesale thing. It's a lot of work. And so we bought this little 8-sided building on Cable Road. And then my mother had this idea that 8-sided building didn't portray the brand that we wanted to portray. She was absolutely correct. She said, I think you guys need to build a red barn. Red barn is farm. You guys are farm. You're not lying to people. You're telling them exactly who you are. Why don't you build a little red barn? So now we have 8 of them. And the little letter sign there, we were told by the city fathers that we were not allowed to have a sign on the property. So we put a sign on the barn. Here's going to the baseball game at the Mud Hens, I think.
Yeah, taking a Sunday and paying for a charter bus to take all the kids to a baseball game, just for fun. No agenda, just go have fun. Here's some money for popcorn. That's great.
They told me I could throw the first pitch, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
always thought that was easy. But until you get out in the middle of there and throw it right in the dirt, oh gosh, so embarrassing. But I got over it. So here's the kids in the morning, 6 in the morning, getting ready to pick strawberries in their buckets, and they're all smiles. These are the best kids in the world. And I tell them they're not normal. I tell them they're destined for success. And every single one of them is. They're the best kids in the world. Here's the words of wisdom. We have a little, and if I can't find anybody to talk, then I have to tell them some words of wisdom.
Stay on that for just a second. So on that morning was their actual 50th wedding anniversary, mom and dad's, and he invited some of my siblings and family, and something struck me. I don't know if you realize this, that you said, we wanted to celebrate with our family here, but then you turned to all the kids and you said, and you're our family too. And it made me a little misty, and I was like, I've never seen anything like that. Treating kids, it's almost like you have 60 kids. You go to ball games, you do. You go to ball games, you go to graduation parties, you pour into these kids so much, and I just feel like this transfers to any company. If you pour that much so genuinely and passionately, like you're not like cutthroat, we need to make more money, we need to do this and this. It's like you literally tell the stand workers, just make people happy. I don't care, throw in more corn, do whatever. You like empower them. I just think that's brilliant.
Picture picking berries, drone shot, they're out there. Now, let me just back up here a little bit. Now, Jessica was telling the story about how when the Finley girls got to the Finley stand, there were 60 kids in line wanting to buy berries, standing outside their car in line. And the girls called me up and said, Jerry, you're gonna need to send more berries. I said, we sent 150 buckets. And she said, you don't understand, we need more berries, get them here. So I took a bunch more, and I thought, man, this is fantastic, see a big line like this? And then after they basically all went away, I needed a few things, went to the Kroger store across the road, and what should meet me at the door other than a big 6-foot tall, 100% fresh strawberry sign at Kroger. Now Kroger has a big budget and a lot of advertising budget, and I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder what the size of their line is. I was looking left, looking right, looking up, looking down. And so then I told this story to all the pickers. I said, you ought to see the Kroger line. Anyway. Now this was at one of our all-you-can-eat pancake and talent show nights. And the one girl with the loser hat there, she lost the bet with one of the other kids about who could sell the most super freezer specials of sweet corn.
Go to the next one. So, the quick version is, once a year we'll have a pancake breakfast. Work starts at 6, and you got to be there 5:45. We said we're going to have the pancake breakfast starts at 5, be there at 4:45. All you can eat pancakes, sausage, juice, all the fun things.
Why not?
I'm sure this meets all the food code things. And this.
Complete with music.
It's
We're
like
high class.
It's like a 5-star restaurant.
Exactly. This is great.
Followed by the talent show. Using the trucks as headlights.
So that's really true. We don't want them to ever know what's coming. If you can keep a high school kid guessing, you got them. Yeah, that's more. Now these 5 guys right here, the guy with the white T-shirt on my left and your left too probably. He's a scientist. The next guy is an author out in California. The next guy is literally, he works for NASA. He's a rocket scientist. The next guy is a medical doctor, David Yoder in Bluffton. And I got a great story about him, but we don't have time. Maybe we do later. The next guy is a mortician. So these kids have success all through them. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to be. But I encourage them, if you really, really want to do something, you don't have to listen to anybody else. You just go ahead and do it. And one of the guys, he's not in this picture, but he said, Jerry, I'm going to be an airline pilot. And I thought, if you're an airline pilot, I walk on the plane, I see you, I'm walking back off. Because this guy was a goof. And so, but I did ask him, now, if you're a pilot and I come on, are you going to invite me up front, sit me down and show me everything? He says, in a heartbeat. He says, I'm ready for you. And I got to, anyway. So, but do you know what he does now? He flies jets for Delta. He was right. He did what he wanted to do.
Good for him.
Here's another group of kids. Here's a sweet corn, and we sell a lot of sweet corn.
Each one of those burlap bags is 4 dozen.
4 dozen
bags, and the kids bag it all, pick it all. It's a really impressive operation. This is between 6 and 8 a.m. Monday through Saturday.
Those wagons start empty, and in 2 hours, fresh corn. And our definition of fresh is different than everybody else's definition of fresh. I love it when the big box grocery stores say fresh. Fresh, 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 fresh. I love it because people know better.
And then a year later, the barn burnt down.
And people said, does that mean there's going to be no more sweet corn? And I thought, just because the barn burns down doesn't mean that the corn burned down. We're still going to go out and pick corn. Now, you know, it was a sad time, but at the same time, we certainly did not give up. And I'd like to think that the kids learned something from that too. You have some trials, don't give up.
I got a 10-second story. I didn't tell you about this. On the night that barn burnt down, clean your mowers off after you mow, by the way. It caught fire. They were pulling equipment out, the fire department was, and stuff, and you know, your whole business is literally in flames, and you're riding on one of the things they're pulling out, and you start doing the wave like this, and I'm like, who faces adversity like that, where you're just like, well, I can't do anything about it, so let's just, we're gonna have fun with it anyways, and like, there's been so many life events that are like, oh, I'm gonna pull my hair out. You're just like, yeah, well, here's what we can do about it.
And we load up the sweet corn on the trucks.
That's me.
Here's a little mark right there. Now,
This is the brand. You said earlier, you're like, this is the brand.
sweet corn
particularly,
is a
but-
family thing.
Yeah.
It should be. It should be a treat. It's not just food, it's a treat. And when they come get our sweet corn, they have some intention, some kind of meal, grandma's coming over, or maybe they just plain love great sweet corn. I've had 4 different people tell me this morning, love your sweet corn. It's great, it does my heart good. Here's the beaners. Here's an old picture how we used to plant melons, punch hole in the plastic, plant them by hand. And here's the same thing.
I'm pretty sure it's the same tractor.
50 years later, still using basically the same tractor, the same thing. And we plant all the pumpkins that way. The old picture of the cider press and making cider. My son Tom right there, who works so hard, he draws all the corn mazes. He wants a corn maze that's fun.
But by the way, on that last one, that press was built in 1888. We still use it the same way as when it was made. If you go to the Henry Ford Museum up in Detroit, they have that same cider press as a display in the museum. Anyway.
And when Nancy and I went up there, we saw this building, it says cider press. And I thought, hey, we're going in there, we're gonna check out this press. And there it said, Boomer and Boscher, Syracuse, New York, keep knives sharp, keep well oiled. I said, that's our press. The gears are the same, the levers are the same. And I told the guard, that I could run that press for you. He says, no, you couldn't. This is old.
1888.
Ours is wooden beams. Theirs are metal I-beams.
Oh yeah, ours is older than theirs.
Whose is older?
Yeah, and then you said, we're going to tear down half the apple trees, we're going to plant it to corn, and then we're going to go cut half of it down with hose. And when people come to the cider press, they can wander through this maze, like the hedge mazes in England, you said.
Mark and his friend thought we were nuts.
Feeling the forehead kind of thing, like no. And then what happened? 25 years of successful, intricately designed mazes, and now it looks like this. It's a destination with all kinds of products.
We're open basically Saturday and Sunday for the maze. On a decent weather day, there's 500 cars there. And
It's amazing.
And I'm sure glad that I went back to Clyde Daysinger and gave it one more chance. My life would be incredibly different if I had taken the first no. So don't accept the first no. Now that no might turn into a permanent no, but it might not. Find out why they say no and then go ahead. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, you said this the other day, we were on a phone call, so I put it in here, that we're from small town. Oh, shout out for the bowling pins. They're from Westgate. That's foaling. You throw the football at the bowling pins. It's what we do in the country, okay?
So many of our landlords have been so kind to us.
Yeah.
Westgate, Cupie,
We got 3 minutes.
anyway, pumpkin pickers.
Pick your own pumpkins. Yep, pick your own flowers. That's my favorite game.
Donuts. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Never knew donuts were so popular. Now, you know how many gallons of cider a grocery store sells? Not many. You know how many gallons of cider we can sell in a day? Between 600 and 1,000 gallons. And Tanner, right back there, I sat with him the first part of and you know what Tanner said? He's just graduated from high school. He said, love your cider.
Oh yeah, I brought in some to class. He's one of my
It's
students.
great. Mark's kids there.
Favorite maze.
We did a pioneer maze. I found a roadkill coon and made a hat out of it. So anyway, the words of wisdom. And our family goes up to the Mud Hens game every year. It's what we do. And now there's a whole bunch of people come to the maze every year. That's what they do. They tell me sometimes the relatives come 40 miles this way and 50 miles this way. They meet in the middle and have a fun time. And I think that's it.
Yeah, go back one side. So we were talking the other day about this, and there's the way that we run things at the cider press and corn maze. Well, Tom and Dad do most of it. It's not a nickel and dime operation. You ever go somewhere like Disney, Cedar Point, something like that, and you're like, oh, I kind of need a water. $5.70, yeah. And then we sell these little magnets for your fridge, and they're literally 50 cents, and I'm pretty sure you're taking a loss on those. And there's a lot of activities that are free, so people could just come and do like the wall ball, the foaling, throwing the football at the bowling pins, all kinds of stuff. You buy a pop, it's 50 cents. Remember when it used to be 50 cents? You feel good about it, and I feel like the people that come, they see the employees, they either know them or they see that genuine joy in that employee, and they feel good about spending money there.
It takes 40 workers to run the corn maze, make all the donuts, the cider slushies. Anyway, it's great fun. We love the corn maze above everything else. Although I'm pretty fond of sweet corn too. Anyway.
I eat more raw than I do cooked. If you've never had a good raw ear of sweet corn, come get some this summer. But we are about out of time. Do you have anything else?
It's just that I'm so proud of our workers. We could not do what we do without the best of the best. These kids, and I tell them on almost a daily basis, you guys are not normal, you are destined for success. And they are. And I tell them, you just stay at it. You are not normal. They're out there in the rain picking and just incredible things. So
Are these available for sampling?
sure, I don't care.
Sweet. You want some strawberries? Come get some at lunch, maybe?
So
All right. Pass it around. Yeah. All right. Well, I know we're out of time, so,
okay.
but I'm going to take this opportunity to take a selfie with my dad on stage. Send this towards the audience. Got it.